Hi, and welcome to this episode of Social Justice Warriors, a podcast radio program about all things to do with social justice. I'm Matt Buckley. On this episode of Social Justice Warriors, I play an interview that I did with Scott Shepherd. Scott Shepherd is a former white supremacist. He has renounced white supremacism and nowadays speaks out against racism. Did you have a racist upbringing? Was it your parents or?
No, actually, I wasn't raised by any racist parents whatsoever. Actually, of course, I was raised in a dysfunctional family with an alcoholic father. And I think that played a part in some of the direction that I went. I went off in a direction of course, I didn't like myself. I had a lot of anger within myself, and I was looking for a place to fit in and a home setting, and just so happened that the Ku Klux Klan, was there.
Okay, so how did you get involved with the white supremacist movement?
Well, I got involved with them because at the time, like I said, I was looking for a place to fit in. I had even searched out the Irish Republican Army. They had members in New York City and stuff that was recruiting and stuff, and I had talked to them and had contacted them. But I've gotten the white supremacist movement was pretty much right in my backyard in the state of Mississippi in the 1960s and 70s. During the integration attempts to integrate the schools.
So how old were you when you got involved with the movement?
I was actually, I think I contacted them back when I was like about 16, and I think I officially got involved with them when I was about 17.
Okay. So what activities did you undertake in the white supremacist movement?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
So what activities did you undertake in the movement?
Pretty much, of course, in the movement, of course, I came up through the ranks, and I was brought into the movement. And what they do is, of course, they send you through a programming, is what I call it. Classes and things like that. They try, they program you to what they want. And of course, they sent me through the recruitment side of the movement, and of course, there was some violence and things like that. But nothing too extreme, far as I was concerned, because I was into the recruitment.
Okay, so you're involved in recruitment activities.
Yes.
Yeah. So did your involvement in the white supremacist movement affect your relationships with any family or friends?
Affected my relationship with most all my friends and family. Yes, very much so.
How so? Did it cause
Well,
arguments?
pretty much. Of course, it affected my relationship pretty much with my daughter, who at the time she got married, and of course I wasn't invited to her wedding because she had people of color at her wedding, and she didn't want me around them. And of course, also she had a child, my first granddaughter, and of course, I didn't know anything about that because our relationship was pretty much damaged by the things I had gotten involved with. It pretty much took a toll on my entire family, and it took a toll on just all my friends in general. I mean, I lost all friends and nearly lost my entire family.
Okay. So when did you come to question or change your racial views?
Well, I think I pretty much questioned them probably during the whole time I was involved. Because, see, I was raised by a black lady in the state of Mississippi, and she raised my mother and myself and my brother and sister. And I think there was always, this little doubt in the back of my head that I really believed these things. And so the doubt was always there. And then, of course, it pretty much was ignored by myself when I was involved in the movement because I just didn't want to face it. And I came to realize, I guess probably 1990, I was forced to take a cold, hard look within myself and find out what the true problem was. Okay. The true problem was myself.
So how long were you in the movement by the time you decided to get out of it?
From about 1970, I would say probably about 1975 or 70, somewhere around 76 to 1994.
Okay. So was there a point when which you officially left the movement, or was it more a gradual process?
Well, I take that. Let me say it was probably 1993. I think I left the movement in 1993.
So there was an official, like, did you write a letter and say, I'm now leaving, I don't share the views
Yep,
anymore?
I just turned around and walked away.
Okay. How did the other white supremacists react to this?
They didn't take it very well, Of course, at that time and even today, I still receive, threats and criticism. But I'm not concerned about the criticism or nothing like that. It's just, the threats are still there. So I just, I keep an eye on my shoulder.
Okay. Um, Now, leading the white supremacist movement is one thing. Actually, campaigning against racism is another. How did you become a campaigner against racism?
Well, I tell you, like I said, I left the movement and I went into seclusion probably for a number of years. And of course, didn't try to reinvent any kind of life for myself. I kind of hid out and didn't talk to anyone. Uh, and then, of course, I guess probably around 2005, I had a sister that was dying of cancer, breast cancer, and we had a long talk right before she died. And she asked me, she said, "Do you regret the things you did in the past?" I said, "Yes, very much. Very much so." And she said, "You can use that experience to help people and help other people." I heard what she said, but I didn't take it to heart, and I really didn't pay attention to it for a while. And then it came 2008, and I became ill myself, and I became ill myself and had to have severe surgery. And then in 2010, related to the same surgery, I almost died.
Oh.
And when I almost died, I had a lot of time to think. My hospital stay turned into about 8 weeks, supposed to be in about 3 to 5 days, and had a lot of time to think. And I thought, I don't want to leave this world now. People think that I'm the same person I used to be. So, I made a decision then to open up and start speaking out. I had trouble doing that because of course I was ashamed of my past and not sure how to bring it out and talk about it. And then I met a good friend of mine, Daryl Davis, that I'd done a documentary with, Accidental Courtesy, here in the United States. And of course, Daryl's become a good friend. He's a black musician, and he's my brother. And like I said, he helped a lot in bringing me out and being able to talk about my past.
So tell us about your campaigning. What do you actually do?
I'm sorry.
What do you actually do? How do you go about campaigning? Do you deliver speeches, or what's the story?
Oh yeah, yeah. Just any venue any venue that invites me. It can range from talking to young kids. It can range from talking to adults. It can range from that to media and documentaries and things. Anything to get the message out. Trying to help break down the barriers of racism.
Okay. And what's been the response?
Oh, it's been great. I guess when I first started this campaign, and as far as myself, I opened up a blog and had a lot of information about myself on it, and I was afraid. I was scared to death before I sent it out, and I hit the submit button, the publish button, and once you do that, it's out there, and I did that. But I was really surprised at the people that came out and supported me and was behind me, 100%. They were, actually, I don't know what I'd do without those people because they really stood behind me.
Okay. Do you believe that you have succeeded in getting any racists to change or question their views?
Oh yes, I've succeeded in doing that. Of course, there's a lot of work that has to be done. I've succeeded in getting a few to change their views, but there's a lot that's got to be done.
Yeah.
We still got a long way to go.
Yeah. So what would you say? I'm not asking to give you a whole speech that you give, but what would be what would be the main points that you would actually give in a speech if you're asked to give one?
Well, the main point is communication. The main point is communication. Without communication, we have no chance. We got to sit down, and of course, yes, we have different beliefs and things like that. We've got to sit down and talk with each other and communicate and open up our hearts and our minds and even though we don't agree with some of these people or other people, allow them to say what they need to say and talk and with an exchange of ideas, and that's where it starts.
Yeah. How big is white supremacy in America? I mean, obviously, America has a history of white supremacy, like with the Ku Klux Klan, with racial segregation, with slavery. How big is it a problem now, would you say?
Oh, right now, the United States is in a very divided situation right now, and the white supremacists are, of course, they're on an upswing right now, and it's really a situation that we've got to take a look at. And of course, white supremacy has never gone away, and I don't think it ever will go away. But we can limit, the problems that we have in this country. It's very troubled area right now.
Yeah. The election of Barack Obama certainly brought a fair bit of it to the fore. The fact that they had a black president. And the election of Barack
But
Obama.
sure,
So
yeah, but Obama did. Yes,
yeah,
he of course his election and stuff. There was a rise in white supremacists and movements and members because they. I mean, well, for the reason that he was black, sure, he caused a lot of the influx of people to come in and join the ranks.
yeah. Have you made any mistakes in your campaigning? Things like I won't do that again because that didn't work or that turned out badly or whatever, anything like that?
Have I made any mistakes?
Yeah, in the campaigning, things that you realise you should have done something differently.
Oh, sure. Well, I can't think of right offhand what I mean. You mean there's always mistakes, and I, there's several times that I should have taken things and approached it in a different way. That, of course, this was earlier in my campaign, and I've learned a lot from the mistakes, and that I should have gone forward with. And of course, like I said, I've had a lot of support from Daryl Davis, and he's been on the campaign with me as far as bringing people out of the movement and preventing them from coming in. But he's been a lot of help and helping me learn from my mistakes.
Yeah. So you mentioned your
I
daughter.
mean, there's no perfect solution. All I can do is like take my past and my experience and explain it to people and what happened to me, and hopefully they if they have some of the same issues they can learn from it.
Yeah. So how much has your life changed since you left the white supremacist movement and you started campaigning against it?
My life's changed. Gosh, it's taken I 300 100% and spun that about 5 times. It has changed totally. I mean, my relationship with my family and my daughter, and that I was disenfranchised from, and my sister. Everything's great. We've made amends, and we're on the right track. For a long time, I didn't know who I was or what I was doing or anything like that. Of course, inside the movement today, I know who I am, where I'm going, and what I'm doing. I know I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah. So you said you get threats from white supremacists still in the movement. I believe the term would be race traitor, what they would call you. That's the,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
sure, yeah. I'm considered a race traitor and a traitor to the white race because I turned my back on the white supremacist movement. Because see, they believe in white supremacy, and the only thing all they care about is the white race. Of course, I agree. The white race is important, but all races are important. But so we need to join, work together to bring down these racial barriers.
Yeah. Do you get scared about the threats?
No, not now.
Uh,
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I really don't even think about them. I've got probably the biggest protection in the world behind me, and that's God. And I think He's sending me in the right direction, so I don't worry about it.
yeah. So you made the point all people of all races are important, not just the white race.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, all races are important. Doesn't matter who you are. We're all important. Of course, I know that there's differences, and opinions and stuff that people have and stuff. What we need to do is, like I said, more communication. Sit down, and if you can walk into any cafeteria, probably in the country, and see whites sitting with whites or blacks sitting with blacks or whatever. Get up and walk across the room and talk to people, get to know them, and learn learn from each other, and I think we'll have some improvement in the way we look at different races and life in general.
Yeah. So your advice, to people who might want to try to get a racist to change their beliefs, would be to talk to the person.
Right, communication is it. I mean, without communication, we're doomed. We need to sit down and just get to know each other, and that's the main thing. A lot of these people don't know each other, and it's fear. Fear causes problems. And sit down and just get to know someone. I mean, communicate, see what we can do to work together.
That was an interview I conducted with former white supremacist Scott Shepherd. He now spends his time speaking out against racism. You can find his websites at racistnomore1.blogspot.com. That is racistnomore1.blogspot.com, and antiracism1.blogspot.com. That is antiracist1.blogspot.com. You are listening to Social Justice Warriors, a podcast radio program about all things to do with social justice. I'm Matt Buckley. You can contact the show via email at thesocialjusticeshow@yahoo.com. I will repeat that is thesocialjusticeshow@yahoo.com. Also, you can donate to the show if you wish. Social Justice Warriors is now on Patreon, which is a website through which followers of particular artists and journalists can contribute financially to the work of those they follow. You can find Social Justice Warriors' account with Patreon by logging on to patreon.com. I will repeat that is patreon.com, and then typing Social Justice Warriors into Patreon's search engine. I hope you've enjoyed this episode of Social Justice Warriors. I will speak to you next time.